Okay, so one more problem that I have to address is this last little bit on the steering column. The old dash used to flare out a little bit right here, and this one does too. When it was not in the car and everything was laid out, there was crisp and there was none of this happening. But now that things are getting buttoned up, and you tighten one side, then the other side starts to dance around on you a little bit. I took this plate back off because this bottom plate does help it, but not as much as it should. So once I put this plate on, sorry, I keep showing that stupid key, it's in the way. Okay, but it's still sitting in there, a little cattywampus, if you will. And so I've done a lot of research, and I've also seen this already at other car shows, so I kind of knew this was probably going to come, but I was hoping it wasn't. But or people have noticed this flare. So I did some research, and GM finally addressed this problem, and I'm getting some conflicting information. Some forums and some sites say it's 81, others say it's 82, blah, blah, blah. But GM started putting a little bracket, it's an L bracket that attaches to the back of the dash, and it's right here. And when I bought my new dash, it came with it, and I'll show a picture of it. I already got this dash in, but I will show a picture of it. And I was afraid that's what that L bracket was for, was to solve this problem. But I was afraid because the bezel that I have around the speedometer and tachometer don't have a place to accept it. And I found out that that's a common problem. And there are a few bezels out there that do have a hole already drilled to accept this little L bracket. And so when manufacturers start making new or replacement dashboards, they always put that L bracket in. So what I've seen a lot of people do is, or very few, I'm sorry, there's very little information, but I've read that some people were drilling the hole themselves to get to this L bracket and put in a small, like a panhead screw with a bolt on the other side, and bolting that to the bezel around the tachometer and speedometer. So I guess that's what I'm going to have to do now, because I just did a dry fit with my lens, and I don't like, this line is not square and true with the lens. And I think as the years go by, especially if it's a hot day sitting in a car show or whatever, I think it's only going to get worse. So I'm going to address that now. I'm going to start by removing this plastic trim and seeing if I can drill a hole. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so here's the squillio dealio. I'm trying to get this rode on the show, and I was just telling my wife that this is taking way longer than I thought it would with the new dash, because everything had nice crisp lines, but as soon as you get one side buttoned up, the other side says eh. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm taking off this plastic plate, and these, I didn't realize these screws are so rusty and look like crap. Maybe I can get them cleaned up. All right, so you see what I'm doing. I gotta set the camera down. I'm hoping that there will be enough plastic out of the way that I can drill ahead, drill a hole and put like a panhead screw to drop down to that L bracket, and then bolt it from the other side to hold that right there. Or I could just drive around with my finger right there. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. That's easier. No, better do it the other way. Okay. Okay, so here's the tip from your old pal 3AM. I was using this to take those screws out, 9/64. But because of this bulky handle, they don't get the screws in the corner. So sometimes it's good to have such a thing as this for this very situation. And there's other options too. A while ago I was using this kind of thing with a hex head. So other options. I love these things. This is my immediate go-to, but sometimes they don't work. So anyway, just a tip from your old pal here. Okay, so usually I knock over the camera when I do this, but I've got all the screws out, and I just want to get this the frig out of my way, just like that, so that I can drill a screw hole right there. And I didn't really want to take this much apart, but that's the way it goes. All right. So now I think actually that does give me enough room to put a screw through here to hit that L bracket. It's right there where my fingertip is. And then by the time I put all the plastic on, shouldn't be seen. I am going to have to probably drill out that plastic so it can sit over the screw head, because the screw head, I'm going to, once I introduce the screw head to this area, I don't know that I have enough to make it, use a tapered screw and make it flush. I don't think there's enough plastic here. I don't know. We'll see here. Okay, so just real quick, for the sake of my audience, I don't like pushing this out that much. You can see right there. See that? There's that L bracket with the slot in it. And what the manufacturer has in mind is for you to put a screw in there, like I've said a million times already. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. Next you're gonna see me drill a hole that lines up with that right there. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna clean up these rusty screws while they're out, and I'll show the process, the proceeds. See, this is what they look like. I didn't even realize they look so bad in there. Now, I do not like using wire brushes, but I'm going to, for the sake of this project. Scraping this clean. I don't like wire brushes because I grill out all the time, and I always used a wire brush to clean the grill. And I cleaned the grill one time with a thick wire brush that had curled bristles, blah, blah, blah. And I scraped the grill clean, and apparently one of the bristles got left behind on the grill, and the hamburger patty that I made picked it up. And guess what? I ate it. Yes, that is correct. I felt something way down in my throat, and I knew something wasn't right. I knew something wasn't right. And I was just a couple minutes from going to the ER, and my wife finally saw it way down in my throat, wedged in my throat, and that's where I felt it. And basically with a towel, grabbed my tongue and used something like this and pulled it out of my throat. So ever since then, I no longer use a wire brush to clean the grill. Ye be warned. All right, so now that I'm done with my Betty Crocker big talking, let's take a look at how this screw looks now. Oh yeah, that's looking much more gooder. I'm scraping off the finish at the same time, so I'm going to do this to all of them. And when I'm done, I'm going to primer and then paint these. All right, so next I'm going to primer these while looking through my camera. So let's see how bad I can do. Hey, that's not too bad. All right. A little primer, it'll help to paint it here, help stop rust from coming through. And all right, I think that's enough primer. All right, so now that the primer's dry, I'm just gonna spray these black, and I just want to put 2 or 3 light coats on them, light being the key word. So I don't want it real thick, you know, to where it gobs up or something. I'm just going to put 2, probably 3 coats of light black paint on it, Rust-Oleum paint. Okay, gang, so I took an X and Y measurement. So here is, I keep bumping into the key, where that L bracket is. There's the pencil mark for the slot. And I stuck a piece of paper back there, like so. Of course, I've already bent on it, but hold on, I'll show. Okay, there, that's better. Got my camera stand set up. So if I stick a piece of paper back here, which is what I did earlier. Okay, so that the end of that piece of paper is where the end of the L bracket is, the slot in the L bracket. And if you see, I put a little tick mark on the paper. There's another tick mark on the piece of painter's tape right here. So if I line everything up, I know where the end of that is. So now I'm going to take the piece of paper out and line it up where that piece of paper ends, back there where you can't see, is where there should be a screw hole to hit the back side of that slot. So I'm thinking I need to take a measurement for the front side of the slot so that when I put it in, let me see here. No, it has to go to the back because otherwise I'm going to have to put it so tight. Gang, this is just plastic. I can't, you know, wrench on this so tight, it'll break. So it's got to go to the back of the slot so that it will stay there. So, So, gang, I don't want to, but it looks like I got to remove the tachometer so that I can hit this measurement and put that screw back there. I really don't want to do that. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. I don't see any way around this problem. Dang it. Okay. I could sit here and complain about it, but that's not going to get me anywhere. So, I can either, there is another option, just spitballing ideas. I don't like it at all, but I could. Let me make sure my camera can see. It doesn't really, I feel like I'm just kicking the can down the road. I am going to do one of these bottom panels, but I could because that brace back there. I could, nobody will see it. You've heard of Papa Smurf. I could pop a screw right back there and tighten it down into that brace. That actually holds things on both sides right where they need to be. The problem is there'd be a screw head right here. And, you know, I could play with it with this old one, but when I get the new one in, it costs about $112 plus shipping. I don't know how excited I'd be to put a freaking hole right in the middle of it. Anyway, just spitballing ideas. Let's take a look at something. Okay, so it's worth mentioning this bolt right here, right next to the steering column. I've got one of these elbows, and I have to use it to get in there because even my smallest little ratchet, the head of it is too big to fit where that steering column is. So I'm trying to not just show the back of my hand, but I have to, let's see, does that show it? Put that on there and then crank that over. So it's going to take me a hot minute to get that one out, but it's just worth mentioning. I've used these little elbow things a lot. I've got them in all the sizes, and it pivots this way too. And so, yep. Okay. So got all the bolts out. There it goes. Okay. All right. So so I got the tachometer out, and I just need to think about where I want to put. Okay. So now I have room for the screw head. Okay. Okay, so now that I've got my piece of paper, and I've got my tick marks here and my tick mark here, I can now line this up and see where. So there's where I want the dash to sit. If I line everything up, I'm sorry to show the back of my hand. I'll show you a lot more than that here in just a minute. All right, right there. So if I line all my marks up, hold the dash where it's supposed to be, then at the corner of that piece of paper, that's where my screw holes should be. Yeah, I know I don't have it exactly lined up at the moment there, like that. So right there at the end of that piece of paper, that's where the screw hole needs to be. Okay, so my handheld drill press will not fit in the opening, and I didn't think it would, and so that's where this comes in. If anybody's interested, there's some information about it. So I'm going to have to hook that up so that I can drill inside there. Okay, so I know this isn't the best angle to show this, but it's about the only angle that I've got. And I'm looking through my camera. Okay, it looks like the camera can see this. Okay, just like that. There's the hole that apparently some bezel, however you want to call it, have out there. I've never seen one, but apparently I just made one. So okay, so I had to go with a little bit of a longer screw, so I had to drill the hole a little bit bigger, but let me zoom in because it's actually hitting right where it's supposed to be. So I am, make sure the camera can see this. There it goes. Okay, oh my God, that got it. Right there, oh yes. Finally, I have this dash in place where it's supposed to be, held with that. So yeah, wow, what a relief. There it is, exactly where it's supposed to be. Oh my God, I've been struggling with this thing, and I just wanted to document it, so hopefully it can help others. I just do this for fun as a hobby on the side. Nobody's paying me to do this, so hopefully this helps you if you're in the same situation. But it actually hit it. It actually hit that L bracket and is right there, square and true. Oh my gosh, what a relief. Okay. Okay, so I ended up using a bigger screw than what I intended to do. I did test fit it with the tachometer, which I'll show here in just a second. And it does fit, just barely, but it does. So underneath there, the thing is, like I said before, it's plastic, so I can't just crank down super taut. So you could do things like get a lock nut, which basically has nylon inside the nut, which helps that to stay. And or you could do like a lock washer, but I think what I'm going to do is the old classic, just tighten that up like that, and so that'll hold it square and true. So that's what I'm going to do. Instead of me trying to get the camera underneath there, I just thought I would just show real quick. Okay, so now I'm going to put the tack back in place. There, just like that. Sorry to show the back of my hand so much. Okay, so there's that. You don't have to watch me run these bolts in, but so there it is. So that's how I solved this problem with this being straight and true across here. This plate does help, but it didn't give it that final, this bottom knee plate here, but it didn't give it the final little push that it needed. So obviously, you know, when they remake these dash, they've thought of this already and put those little L brackets in there. I didn't think it would be necessary, but when you get it in the car and start tightening things down here and there, it starts to twist and turn a little bit on you, it being the dashboard, to my surprise. So you kind of need these little tweaks as you go. Getting the dashboard in is only half the battle. Making all these little tweaks is kind of a handful. But anyway, yeah, there it is. I hope that helps people out there, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.